Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me drop in the cup images file. We will be covering the Daytona race here and showing replays if we have any big moments, big wrecks. But we cannot show the stream here. We would get the channel taken down. I do have a place you could watch the race, potentially. If you do need a link, let me know. All right, let's relaunch. What channel is it on? It's on Fox, Big Fox. Should be, you know, your local network, or if you have an antenna, you can get it on there. They're also showing Cletus McFarland's in-car camera over, I think, on NASCAR's YouTube channel. It's either there or his personal channel. That's more of the numbers. We're still missing a bunch. ARCA just has a ton of unique numbers that are not running Cup. So we're going to have a bunch of missing numbers. That sucks. Let me see if we can somehow fix that. Get a few more car numbers. Boop. Boop. I'm just making some changes to the leaderboard, guys. I'm sorry. We'll be done before the green flag. All right, that should work. All right, that's a few more car numbers. We still don't have them all. ARCA doesn't provide the car numbers like NASCAR does, so I don't have that as a resource. Good to see you, Justin. Good to see you. I'm going to try to go to ARCA's website and see if I can pull it up. So I have the race on YouTube TV right in front of me. It's a little delayed, probably like 15 seconds to 20 seconds delayed from... Yeah, probably about 10 to 15 seconds delayed from the antenna broadcast. So I'll be glancing in this direction. And when I'm looking off over there, I'm watching the antenna broadcast. just get a sneak peek ahead of what's coming. Let's go race center. Loading live data. Let's go. The ARCA website's not working. Hey, our leaderboard's working. We're not having an issue. What's going on there, guys? Race center. Yeah, it's the ARCA website's not working. It's a shame. I wanted to check and see if I could get the remaining image numbers, but that's fine. All right, they're on board with Cletus right now, interviewing him. He's starting 5th. Hopefully today's a better race than last night for Cletus. It was a very short race. The entire NASCAR leaderboard system might be having an issue right now. They're also not showing some other stuff. Anyway, we have the leaderboard in a decent place. I'm going to try to find a few more numbers. All right, so what numbers are we missing? Do we have a 55 here? We do have a 55. It's not Isabella Robusto's 55, but it is a 55. There we go. All right, so we have Isabella Robustos now. It's loaded in. That's awesome. It did it automatically. We have a 30. We do. We do not have an 89, so Bobby Earnhardt's not going to have a number. We do have an 07. All right. Pace cars pulling on the pit road. We're about to go green flag racing. Good morning, Doodlebug. Hope you're having a good day so far. All right. 2 Toyotas up front currently. Daniel Dye in 3rd. They're already pretty spread out. There's 2 huge, or there's 1 big pack, couple stragglers, and then a lot of the other cars are single filed out behind, further back. A lot of times you'll see this ARCA race get really spread out, so I'm not shocked to see that. It was a perfect picture. I usually try not to pick one that's like, that pops up right when you search for it. I try to scroll down a bit and find, you know, one that's older, that may not be, you know, as commonly used. But that one was just too perfect. American flag, Daytona on the wall. There were a few that I looked at, but that's the one I went with. We're 3 wide through a couple rows in the back. Gus Dean kind of just, you know, setting the pace of the field right now. The inside line, they're migrating down there. A lot of times you'll see ARCA run just along the yellow line constantly. It's not our most competitive race, but it should still be a good one. Seems we don't have a 75. All right, so now we've pretty much completely single filed out. There's one last lane of 3 wide, one last lane of 2 wide. And that's it. A row, I should say. That's smart. A lot of these guys, you know, they haven't made very many starts. So probably the best decision. So I want to point something out. Mini Tyrell. He's running in 6th. He is racing in a Ram-sponsored Chevy. So he's driving a Chevy, but it has the Ram logos all over it. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. No 93 either. No 57. They don't have Alex Club's number there either. Interesting. 06. Nope. All right, that's as good as we're going to get. That's all the numbers that I can gather between Cup and Xfinity and trucks. So yeah, we have a few missing numbers, but that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's super unfortunate. Stacy or Christian, whoever's typing currently. I wouldn't have been surprised if they single filed out again on their own anyway. Without that happening. The ARCA field's not the most competitive in the world. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna wait a few seconds for you guys to see this. We are under our first caution. Mini Tyrell just lost it. Made a bad block, got loose, and no damage. Looks like his rear tires may be flat though, so he's gonna potentially do some damage getting back to pit road. Yeah, may do a lot of damage. Ooh, 3 flat tires. He's on the back stretch heading into turn 3. He's gonna park it. Well, Mini Tyrell had a fun 5 laps. That's it. Wesley said ARCA's like the scariest series to see in a super speedway. I think the fall Talladega race 2021. I think it was that one. My wife and I went to see it, And there was this insurance salesman from Michigan. I forget his name. He's one of the older guys that enters in at Talladega or maybe even Daytona every year. You know, he'll try to. That's about the only race he does. Anyway, he gets into the outside wall in the front stretch really hard. And they end up having to jaws of life, like cut the top of the car off and pull him out because he broke his legs. So, yeah. You have a bunch of dentists, insurance salesmen, car salesmen out here racing in the, you know, some of the ARCA divisions. But there's a you know, a handful of big names in the pack. Let's just go through it. You know, Gusty, and he's been around a couple years at least. Isabella Robusto, the same. Daniel Dye, a lot of experience. Cletus, not as much experience, but here he is. Giovanni Ruggiero, good showing in last night's truck race. Jack Wood, a lot of experience. Thomas Annunziata, Ryan Vargas. We've seen Tim Richmond a bunch. I mean, so there we have some returning guys from ARCA. We have some, you know, some interesting names sprinkled throughout the field. And then Timothy Tyrell. Mini Tyrell, as he's called. Jason Kitzmiller back there. Got squeezed in the wall early on. We'll see if he can recover. Jake Finch is your prediction to win. You're hoping an underdog like Andy J or Jason Kitzmiller wins. You love underdogs in this series? Yeah, this series does have true underdogs. I mean, you have guys that maybe only start a few, you know, races in the year, maybe a single race throughout the year. Some truly, you know, small team efforts. And a lot of these guys just run whoever will sponsor them. I'd be like, oh, you have a podcast, $200, and we'll put a sticker on the car, you know. So you'll see a lot of these cars decked out in crazy decals sometimes. Dead Pixel says Cletus all the way. So far, fourth. He's improved his position by one. He's made it further than he did last night. So, not a terrible showing for Cletus so far. But there's a long way to go. That was a bad move there by Mini Tyrell. But if he didn't try to make that block, he could have made the block, you know, if he had held his line, but he just overcorrected a few too many times. But anyway, if he had fallen back, he would have lost, I don't know, probably 15 positions at least. So, decent call there. Our caution light's working tonight. So last night on the truck race stream, our caution light wasn't working. So glad we have that straightened out. All right, let's see if we can get the field a little more stacked up this time. Tyrell has just now gotten into his pit. His pit crew's not in a hurry. We're doing pretty well, but I can already tell my voice is starting to hurt. We streamed yesterday for maybe 8 hours total. Just 8 hours of loudly talking and gesturing. After the truck stream, I went back live again for like 2.5 hours or something. So it was a long day. And so I got a few hours of sleep and had to hop up early for this ARCA race. Early race. It's an early race. Does Dodge plan on extending their cars to other series next season? So that's the rumor. It takes a while to get a car approved. And, you know, they're going to have to build their own engine for NASCAR again, which, I mean, they may be able to use their old engine and just, you know, modernize it, but and then the whole body, and you have to go through this whole NASCAR approvals process. They have to, you know, take it to the wind tunnel. So there's a lot that goes into it. I don't know if they're going to make it by next year, maybe in a couple years. They could probably join the Xfinity series a bit faster if they wanted to. But technically, Ram is its own company. They spun off from Dodge, so, you know, they're still owned by the same people. You know, you'll still find Rams at Dodge dealerships, but technically it's its own brand now. So even though they're back in, it may take Dodge a while longer. I hope to see them. I'd love to see Dodge back. Bring Pontiac back, but as a company, you know? Obama killed Pontiac. I'll never forgive him. The 66 isn't in front, so we have a good chance of getting a solid 25 car pack right here. I think we might have more cars in the lead pack, but I don't think it's going to be 25. This ARCA field just isn't strong enough. You know, inexperienced drivers, and on top of that, very unbalanced cars. Like the cars prepared here by Venturini and Gibbs, no doubt, are putting out extra power. Because when you have guys running 2 seconds off the pace in this race, yeah, NASCAR's been trying to nail down a new manufacturer for the last decade, and they just haven't been able to. That's a great point, Michelle. She said, bring Pontiac back. Why'd they keep Buick and kill Pontiac? So what they want Buick to be. My grandfather used to work for a dealership that did all the General Motors brands. And they want Buick to be the mid-range GM car. So you have Chevy, then you'll have Buick, and then Cadillac. And then GMC fits somewhere in there. You know, maybe on the same level as a Buick. But, yeah. Doesn't help that teams are running their Toledo cars here at Daytona. Hey, some teams only have a couple cars. Can't blame them. They're out there turning laps. I would hate to turn laps 2 seconds off the pace, but you're still racing, you know, at Daytona. So still really cool. Let's look at our leaderboard here. Just scroll through. Yeah, check that out. 57-second lap. 55, you know. Look how far off the pace they are compared to the 49 from our leader. So Isabella Robusto pacing the field. She might actually have some talent, you know. We've had a few duds. Danica, Tony Breidinger, Natalie Decker. Now, Tony, she may just need some more experience, but so far it hasn't been great. Cletus still running P4. The outside line is on his door, so he's 4 rows back, so technically fighting for 5th and 6th right now. It'll be fun to watch Cletus throughout this race. I just want him to finish. I just want him to finish, you know. I hate seeing Cletus get out of the car after wrecking, which is quite a lot, to be honest. Even in his Daytona truck test, he hit the wall. So he hasn't had a great run in stock cars yet. 25 grand to win this year. The last 5 years, ARCA's had an influx of money. Went from 17 to 25. That's inflation, baby. That's inflation. Hey, before this year, before, you know, 26 and 25, you know, inflation was out of hand. You know, you can blame the pandemic for that, or you can blame the policies of those in charge. But yeah, The dollar's not worth what it was just 4 years ago. Gio Ruggiero will be an interesting guy to watch here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Sean Corr almost put it in the trash bin. That was close. This is a fun race so far. Man, I'm so glad NASCAR's back, and by extension, ARCA. We still have to wait, what, a month or two for IndyCar to kick off. So that'll be really fun. Yeah, that's a tricky spot. We've seen veteran drivers get loose and spin there. It's definitely catching the younger guys off guard. These cars, it's based off of the old Gen 6 body. You still have the Chevy SS bodies out here. There's not Camaros in the field. So the reason why I bring that up is the Gen 7 car, the Cup Series car, has a wider tire, has more support, a little more stable. This car doesn't have that. So they're obviously a little loose so far. March 1st. I'm going to watch a bit more F1 this year, I think, just to keep up with Cadillac, but I'm not going to be super dedicated there. The Arlington race. I considered going. I'll be busy right after that. I have a big trip planned for the first week of March, so I won't be able to go. But I considered going previously. I have friends out there in Dallas, so it would have been nice to go out and see them, take them to the IndyCar race. But I might send them some tickets if they can go. I need to get on that. I want to send them to the Texas Motor Speedway race this year, because I've been with them to Circuit of the Americas to see the Cup Series there, but they haven't been to a NASCAR oval race. And until you've been to an oval race, you really haven't been to a NASCAR race. No, I'm not that good, Jordan. I'm not that good. This Eric Brennan, this guy they have here on the ARCA broadcast, he's going to be calling some truck races this year, so I'm very excited for that, because he does a really good job. He does. Gio Ruggiero could get Gibbs' first ARCA win at Daytona. That's hard to believe. That's crazy. Because, I mean, year after year, the 18 is one of the strongest cars in the field. I love seeing Tim Richmond in the field. It's obviously not Tim Richmond, the one we know, but it is a Tim Richmond. I wish he was just in the 25 car. That'd be nice. Get Folgers to sponsor him. So, who? Not sure what that refers to. Let's see what we have. We're back from commercial break. I should just be listening to the broadcast on the television. All right. Under caution again. Should have checked the leaderboard. Yeah, tire down. Goes around on the backstretch and locks it down. So Not going to be a ton of damage. Yeah, that's awesome, King. That's awesome. Not King is dead, but King Tigers. So he's saying the Cletus McFarland in-car camera has 32,000 viewers. That's really good. Really good for an ARCA race at 11 Central, 12 Eastern. Before the race went live, there were already 7,000 people tuned in. I was watching it before the race started. Yeah, there we go. Boop, boop, boop. Use my chat features. Thought you were supposed to have your phone in your car? I doubt it's this phone. Probably in a, like a legitimate in-car camera with a cellular connection. The 70 of Thomas Annunziata is his pick for the ARCA Championship, is Christian's pick. He's the only big team with a full-time driver, and he's a solid driver. That's half the battle. If you start every race in the ARCA series, you're going to get a good points finish. Just by default. That's a good pick. Good pick. So as you can see here on our leaderboard, we are using a mixture of the Xfinity numbers and the Cup numbers because ARCA doesn't provide their numbers, so I can't find them. What's this caution for? Let's see. The 90 of Wesley Slimp cut down a tire and he spun out on the backstretch. So single car accident. Looks like he'll probably continue. May go a lap or two down. Still on the lead lap. Mini Tyrell, 11 laps off the pace. Don't think we're going to get that many cautions. It's an ARCA race, so you never know. We could. And Ryan Huff already pulled off 19 laps. Did he even start the race? We're on lap 19. Now 20. Wesley with a great fact here. Says Tony Breidinger got 4th in ARCA points. Top finish was 6th. She has a huge following, so it's, a shame that her career hasn't gone better so far. I was watching someone do a video review of all the major fast food chains eating their chicken sandwiches, and out front they had a giant cardboard cutout of Tony Breidinger, and the guy pulling into the drive-thru, he didn't know who she was. Obviously doesn't follow NASCAR, and he's like, I don't know who this is, but she's a goddess. That's okay. Okay. So yeah, people really like Tony for reasons. Championship fight would be between Jason Kitzmiller and Thomas Annunziata. That's I think it's a really good pick between the two. So just another single car spin here. So we have 2 cautions to start this race off, but thankfully we haven't junked any cars yet. There's really only about 6 competitive ARCA drivers racing full-time. Yep, that's accurate. You'll see the leader sometimes lap 90% of the field at Bristol, if not more. Every race you'll have the leader running a 29-second lap and the last place guy is running a 36-second lap. So it's like, it does kind of make it interesting when we have a long green flag run, because then you actually see the leaders having to navigate through tons of lap traffic and some going a lot slower. And the danger there, not only are the lap traffic cars running slower, they're running slower for a reason. Usually they're not down on power so much as the car handles like a brick. And so it can be risky to run around those lap guys. They can crash at any moment, especially with the pressure of the leader coming up on him. The Faithful Women of the Bible. Apparently Fox has a new mini-series. I don't know if you guys also got this Calypso commercial, but very low budget, but I like it. King, why did the last message you sent me, why was it wrapped with a bow? White Boy just went live, playing some OG Call of Duties. So it should be going green this time. Lights are out on the pace car. Beautiful view of Daytona. So in the distance, you can see the condos that are on the coast. I mean, they are right up against the coast here. Yeah, we don't often see the ARCA guys get up on the high side. Taylor Reimer, Bounty Rookie Spotlight, 26 years old from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I hear that's a decent place to live. Started racing go-karts at 6 years old. Former cheerleader at University of Oklahoma. How about that? She's driving for Buzzballs. I don't know if any of you guys like the Buzzballs, but thought this was funny. My wife and I were walking through some grocery store, maybe Publix, and it caught her eye from like 20 feet away. So she walks up, she's like, what are these? And she thought they were like scented candles or something. I forget what she thought they were, but say, no, those are not candles. We don't need these. Quarter of the way done. Only 8 green flag laps. What a stat. What a stat. Yeah, I mean, 2 tire failure. Let me take that back. Many Tyrell just lost it, but we did have 1 tire failure. So 2 single car spins. For a second, I thought there were, Many also lost 1, but he did after he spun. Lost 3 tires. Let's see if he got one of his laps back. Nah, still scored 11 down. Wesley now 1 off the pace. As long as there's no damage, he could get his lap back. Good to see the 24 car out front. even though it's not Jeff. The truck race was really good. It was a really good race. It's definitely a shame that Tony got taken out. Cletus, took himself out. It would have been, even better. All right, we're going back to green flag racing. Daniel Dye leading them off on the high side. Good jump here. Good push from behind from Ryan Vargas. And Daniel Dye is going to repay the favor by pulling down to the inside lane. So Daniel Dye pulling down, trying to control both lanes here. All right. 2 wide, about 5 cars back. We have a gap, and then about 10 lanes of 2 wide. So decent formation here so far for this restart. Man, there's a lot of white cars in the field on the outside line. What's going on there? It's always fun to come back and watch ARCA run these older bodies. I love seeing the Chevy SS still out there. All right, now we're side by side. Ryan Vargas challenging on the outside for the lead. Coming to the line, Vargas will lead that last lap. Ryan Vargas, he has several years of experience in all kinds of different series. He's raced in the NASCAR Euro Series even, so. We're going 3 wide. We have the Toyotas trying to make their way back up through the field. They're getting crowded against the wall. That was sketchy. That was AJ Moyer that was crowding them up into that 3rd lane. All right, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the 3rd line blend in with the middle groove right now. That's exactly what they're doing. Oh my goodness, that got sketchy. Isabella Robusto just had a mistake there. Broke up the outside line. Not her fault. She, you know, a lot happened really quickly, but yeah, some indecision there. So now we're back to 3 wide. We had kind of almost gotten down back to 2 lanes. Now we're back to 3. That's right. That's right, Priest fan. Green flag. Yeah, 3 rows. We have 3 wide. Have a decent inside lane, you know, 3-car breakaway. And then we're 4 rows deep, 3 wide, a little further back. And then we have the hangers on that are running around behind them. Cletus is on fire? I hope not. He is running up here with the lead group. So that's like not just the lead pack, but he's in the breakaway. So Cletus right here running 3rd. It would be so awesome if he won. Might be able to land a big sponsor to go truck racing next year if he could get a win here. I mean, if a name like Cletus isn't pulling big sponsorship dollars, we have a problem. We have a big problem. All right, only 3 cars are side by side now. Everyone else is single filed out. That 3-car breakaway has been caught up to. They're now about 8 cars deep on that inside line. They have a little gap all the way back to Taylor Reimer in that Buzzball 77. So a lot of ladies in the field. Saying Allie Owens in the 68. She's a mother. Running the Bighorn Outdoors Ford. That's the fun thing about ARCAs. In any given week, you might see random people in the field. Wesley says they just need to stay single file and run it out until 10 laps to go before trying to do anything. That would make a lot of sense. But what they have to factor in is if they run green flag, single file, and some of these guys keep falling further off the pace, they're not going to have a shot at the end of the race to catch back up. So, got to stay close. But even with all the caution laps, we should be coming up on our pit cycle. Unless they have some kind of a halfway break, non-competitive pit stop. So I'm not sure if they're still doing that. We'll find out soon. It's on the commercial here. They make it too wide during the pit window. We're going to see some spins through the grass. Yeah, we could very easily see some guys get in too deep or get on the brakes, you know, cold brakes and just lose it. We see that a lot here and at Talladega. Cole Raz wasn't supposed to make this field. The only reason he did is because the 20 of Jake Bowman had to use a provisional. So that put Raz in the show and sent the 86 home instead. Yeah, we had a few changes to this weekend after qualifying. So, like, that has to be extremely disappointing to be, you know, told by NASCAR you're in the race. And then a couple hours later, they come back and say, never mind, go home. Man, there's a huge split through the field. Check this out. 49 seconds off the pace. About to go down a lap. Alex Club, 22 seconds off the pace. We have a smattering of guys. Way, like, you know, they're probably going to be safe from getting involved in a big crash, but not very competitive. Man, Isabella almost lost it there. Oh my goodness. Had to gather it up another time. Teammate ditched her. Could have been a little more patient there, but you know, whatever. 11 laps led, most by a female in the ARCA series since 1989. That's crazy. So Cletus a little further back now. He's running 5th. He had made his way up to 3rd. Started in 5th, running 5th right now. He just needs to hold on to this lead back. Thomas Annunziata closing in. Gio making some kind of off-center pushes there. That was a little sketchy. All right, we're closing in on halfway. That's all right, Stacy. That's all right. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. So I had the privilege to take 3 laps at speed here at Daytona. 5 laps total. In the little NASCAR experience. It was the cheapest package. It was, you know, just spur of the moment. I happened to be down there taking a tour of the track and decided to do it. And I was in the... That was December 2016, actually. So those were the older cars, the Gen 6 cars. That was really fun. And then I let my dad do... I forget how many laps he went out there, but he had fun. He did it at Talladega. Definitely recommend it if you have the opportunity. Hop in one of these NASCAR stock cars and give it a go. You know, they're kind of throttled back a bit. I think the time we crossed the speed we crossed the start finish line, it was like 174, which is not bad, but definitely off the pace from what it could have ran if it was tuned properly. Who's out and what happened? Only Ryan Huff, and he's been out the whole race. I don't even know if he started the race. All 40 cars have E-more engines. Thomas Annunziato almost went around there. All 40 cars have E-more engines. Could be wrong. Yeah, I think they're trying to standardize that throughout the field. Kind of a cost saving measure. I think the truck series also has that. Well, fun to see Bobby Earnhardt out here running that Dale Sr. throwback. All right, we have a caution out. Car stopped in the backstretch. Is that 23? Caleb Costner. It's a 93. Daniel Dye, Giovanni Ruggiero. So Christian last night said Daniel Dye and Giovanni Ruggiero would have an advantage in today's race, and he called it. He's exactly right. So we've had 3 single car cautions. Haven't really had anyone junk their car yet, so that's good. And a lot of people want to see a big wreck. And I'm okay with that as long as it happens, you know, in the last 10 laps. Preferably the last lap crossing the finish line. That's the best place to wreck. That way the race goes the full distance. All right, just under commercial here while we're waiting under the caution flag. Let's look through our leaderboard. Just see if anyone sticks out. So Cletus currently scored in 8th. He's dropped back a bit over the last several laps. But he's in good company. Jason Gitzmiller here. Isabella Robustos had a strong showing. 2 ladies back to back. 3rd. Just a couple, or just 1 spot behind. So not bad. Not bad there from the ladies. Bobby Earnhardt running your 22nd. When I first pulled open the leaderboard, I thought it was Bobby Gerhardt. I was like, what year am I in? What happened? Not a great showing for Mini Tyrell. Still 11 down. I'm going to keep an eye on his lap times to see how fast he's running after getting that damage from having 3 flats. Yeah, I didn't think they did live pit stops. I wasn't sure on that, though, so I wasn't going to put it out there as a fact. Man, it is crazy. So in the turns, the grass is pretty dead. And then the infield grass, just pristine. So every time in these supporting races, the truck race, the duels, whatever else, if someone drives through the grass, they have to go out and repair it. The grounds crew is super strict about it, which I'm kind of shocked. There's some dead spots. The grass is not as healthy as it has been in past years. Yeah, we have some dead spots. Man. Infield grass looking a bit rough this year. But they grow that sod. They don't order it. They have fields nearby the track. I forget exactly where they are. But it's, you know, probably within a few miles. They grow the sod, cut it up, and then they come and plant it in the infield. So pretty neat. So, you know, after Cletus shaved off about half the infield grass last night, you know, they've already replaced it. Very impressive. 2 tires and gas with adjustments. Man, we have some guys rolling around on Lake Lloyd. Imagine watching a NASCAR race from Lake Lloyd. You just hear the cars going around. You have it up on a little TV. Out there catching big fish. In the media center, in the infield of Daytona, where they do like the driver's briefing and a lot of the media gather to write their stories and stuff. On the wall, they have a mounted fish, a giant largemouth bass. It's probably at least 13 pounds. It's a big one. Big largemouth. Michael Waltrip pulled it out of the lake. And they mounted it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Who's George Siciliano? Are they in the race? I'm not familiar with that name. Clee's having issues on pit road. Not good, not good. But if they can get him back out, he should retain his position. They did have him scored 8th before the pit cycle. Now he's back there in 12th. We'll see what happens here. They'll get the field sorted out in a couple laps. Free fiber-powered internet forever. When you get 4 mobile lines. That's a big win. didn't show up for this race. They put Cole Raz in the car instead. Well, there we go. There we go. What would my reaction be if we had a catch fence crash in the next 20 laps? It would be crazy. It would be absolutely crazy. They would, I don't know. I don't even know if they would finish the race if it did enough damage. That would be something. I don't know if these guys are going fast enough. I'm sure if they hit at the perfect angle, you know, get around backwards, get some air under the car, and another guy comes and hits them full speed in the nose, maybe you could get a car up in the air. But other than that, it would take a lot to flip an ARCA car. Airborne, that is. You know, you don't see guys just like take flight like Rusty Wallace's, Ryan Newman, you know, very violent wreck in the infield. It like tore the whole rear axle out of the car. That was crazy. Yeah, guys used to just get up in the air and barrel roll. Only one that's come close in the last 10 years is Ryan Preece. All right, before we go back green, I'm going to try to go get a drink. All right, I have my Ty Gibbs sponsored energy drink. The logo is actually missing because it's green. Yeah, the monster. There's not a hole in the can. It's just the green screen kicking in. Can't tell if the lights are still on the pace car, but we haven't lined up yet to go back green. Check this out. Where did Cletus go? Where do they have him scored currently? Currently have him scored 31st, one lap off the pace. Might be on someone like Jake Finch. Currently scored second. We'll see if that holds. Oh dear. Let's see who's in 20th. Okay. Okay. They're still sorting out the field. Whew. AJ down one. Brad down one. Robusto down two. Going behind the wall, looks like. That is disappointing. One of the competitive cars, Robusto is having a good race. Led 11 laps. Now she's going behind the wall. Disappointing. I would like to have, you know, a radio broadcast or something going, but I honestly don't think that's legal. Like, they may be able to get away with it, but I don't think you're supposed to do that. And, you know, it just would crowd the audio. But thank you, Thomas. Some very nice words there. We try our best. We've been doing this. We started about halfway through last year. I've been working on this leaderboard for about 12 months now. And so the leaderboard itself finally, I think, looks pretty decent. Sadly, the ARCA cars don't publish their numbers. So I couldn't get every car number in the field. And these aren't even the ARCA number styles. But we're trying to improve on that, trying to improve on the presentation, and just, you know, keep things moving forward. I've heard of that happening, of a drive shaft breaking and then coming up through the floor of the car. So doesn't sound like a fun thing to have happen. I don't watch a ton of network TV. So these shows they're advertising for prime time just look crazy to me. They shut off one of a doctor that's afraid of blood. That's something. So we will also be live for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. I think that's about 5 hours from now. You were watching the race on Fox and Spectrum Cable, and the internet went tits up. Ugh. Not great. But Danny, if you still have cellular data, you can download probably the Fox Sports app, and you might still be able to watch the race. I don't want you to miss out. Part of the reason we do this is just, you know, I know how it is living paycheck to paycheck. I know that very well. And it's hard to afford a fancy cable package. On top of that, like a streaming service and this and that, there's so many bills nowadays. So, yeah, doing these leaderboard streams, some people, if they're not able to tune in, they can hopefully just follow along with us. And, you know, normally in a truck race, in a cup race, whatever, if there's a wreck or if there's, you know, it's something that brings out a big caution, we'll show a replay. But there really hasn't been anything notable to happen this race. All right, we're lined back up. Pace car has pulled on the pit road, going back green. I also have another source. There's a website you might be able to use if you need it. Christian said his cousin had a rear end lockup last year in his pure stock. It snapped the drive shaft and threw it through the floor. When the dust settled, the broken half was sitting in his lap. That's insane. And terrifying. All right, we're too wide. Two Toyotas leading them off. Jake Finch and Gus Dean. Pretty good restart there. Pretty good restart. So they said Cletus had a jack brake. I'm sure you guys heard that on the broadcast. But that explains why he fell so far off the pace. Gonna have to earn that lap back at some point. So Cletus needs another caution here. Desperately. All right, Jake Finch to the lead. All over it, Christian. All over it. Daniel Dye, Giovanni Ruggiero, 3 and 4. Thomas Annunziata 5th. So we have some big names up here. Jason Kitzmiller in 7th. Not bad. I feel like Ryan Vargas could do better. Running 15th currently. He has a ton of experience. All right, that top lane is starting to fall apart. If a couple more guys dip out of this top lane, it's going to completely fall apart. Oh my goodness. We have one car coming down pit road. Ali Owens got really loose there. All right, Jake Finch just controlling this race right now. Inside line is very strong right now. Only 6 cars left in the outside groove. But man, that 18 has some power on its own. Gio Ruggiero trying to make up the ground on that outside line. Not a ton of help though. They're falling back. There's still 31 to go. These guys just need to make laps. You can start dicing it up when we get to 10 to go. So I'm not sure if we're going to do it, but we might do another stream after this one. We'll try to time it to where that stream would end right before the Xfinity race, but we might do a 100% Xfinity race on NASCAR 25 at Daytona, so haven't decided on that yet. I may also just go get some more sleep. I only got a few hours. I'm feeling it too. Yes, Krishna, I'm just going to listen to you for my NASCAR picks this year. It seems like you know what's going on. All right, so little 2-car breakaway there. I mean, they haven't really separated from the pack, but they are out ahead of that outside line. Let's look back through the field. So Cletus, not the first car lap down. He needs to get around AJ Moyer. So I'm not sure exactly where they are on track together. But Cletus needs to make up one more position at least, and then hope for cautions to fall his way. Robusto off the track. Alex Clubb off the track. Or in the garage. They're out. I need to update that so it says out instead of unknown. And Ryan Huff, the only car that's actually off and out of the race. Mini Tyrell. Seems like he finally gave up the ghost. Pulled off the track. They have several cars in the garage. They haven't officially declared out of the race yet. Cletus is stuck 10 seconds behind the main pack. Let's see what their interval is. Well, we can't see the interval. Yeah, just down a lap. So, not great. Not great. But he's just racing with one other car, one lap down. So, another caution. Presley Sora running the Goga microbiotic Ford. We're learning new words out here. I don't know if that's some kind of a yogurt probiotic product, but oh, Go Gut. Never heard of it. Let's get him some sponsor exposure. I'm gonna look up what that is. Go Gut Microbiotic. They have a store in Port Orange, Florida. It's a small business. I'm pulling open their website. We're taking a look at this. We're going to get Presley Sora sponsor some airtime. So this is Go Gut. They have some merchandise. They have apple crumb cake, apparently. So this is not what I thought it would be. Iced tea. I don't know. Oh, coffee pods. They have all kinds of things. So it looks like a health food store. So if you want to support the ARCA series and Presley Sora, check out Go Gut. Let's see. Are they posting anything about the ARCA race here? Yes, they are. Let's not get a copyright violation here. But Bobby Earnhardt here in this Dale Sr. throwback. Looks pretty good. They got the number slant right. Good to see him out here turning laps. This is Mini Tyrell spin earlier. This was our first caution of the day. Every caution so far has just been a single car accident. Tire failures, guys just getting loose. He just overcorrected there, lost it. And he ends up cutting down 3 tires here during this spin. So he got a lot of damage getting towed back to pit road. And now he was scored 14 laps off the pace, so not going to be in contention for this win. Wesley says if he was trying to get sponsors for this race, he would 100% cause a caution to get some TV time. I mean, if you're a back of the pack guy and you know you're going to finish in the mid-teens or further back, why not? You know, just go spinning through the infield. I never would have seen that Go Gut sponsorship if it wasn't for that caution just now. So I'll tweet at him later and let him know, hey, I saw you guys on TV. Let's search him up. Go Gut. Microbiotic. Hey, we found him. We found him. They don't have any posts. They joined June 2025, so very new account. No activity. They haven't done a single thing on this page. I'm not going to follow if they're not an active account. Fun to look over some of this stuff. Got to give some love to the sponsors. You know, they're the ones that actually fund the sport. And it does make a difference. When I have a favorite driver, beside Buzzballs and Ram, name another sponsor. Mobile One, I think, was on Robusto's car. I can't remember what Cletus's name is. So what's this caution mean for Cletus? He was still... I don't think he had made the pass yet. Yeah, so now he's the first car 1 lap down. So he's competing with 2 other drivers. So after this restart, if we get one more, be real, Go Gut is money laundering for the kid's dad. Very possible. Let's not rule that out. We need to... Who's the owner? Who's the owner? Let's investigate. Yeah, Cletus is racing for that lucky dog. Free pass. I don't know. Does ARCA do a free pass? Because I see AJ Moyer here is still also scored a lap down. Yeah, it says they do a free pass. in their rule book. All right, just wanted to confirm that. I thought AJ was going to get his lap back, though. I'll see if that updates as we go back green. Only one car off, but we have 5 cars in the garage. If the jack wouldn't have broke, he'd still be out front. Yeah, Brady, he was running really well. You know, up there running competitive and with the leaders. So he definitely has a fast car and knows how to get around, but right now he's stuck back in traffic behind a lot of slower cars. So what he needs is a quick caution here. And if he can get a quick caution, you know, he'll still have to work his way back up. So he probably needs a few cautions, to be honest. And he's back there in the danger zone, you know. The further back you get, the higher chance you have of getting caught up in the big one, unless you separate yourself from the pack by 5 seconds. All right, we're going back green. Jake Finch taking the push from Daniel Dye. Daniel Dye has been great at the restarts all day, pushing. So Jake Finch goes from the outside to the inside. He's going to lead them around into turn 1. Kidsmiller's coming into the mix. Yeah. He's been running around here the last handful of laps. I think the last time we looked at the scoreboard, he was scored 7th. So pretty consistent. Taylor Reimer's still 10th. What happened to Ali Owens? Falling back to 15th currently. I would not want to restart on the outside line, because it just falls apart. Daniel Dye leading that outside line. Outside line is not as well organized as it was on the last restart. They've already fallen back 4 cars. Tim Richmond up to 8th. I need to get my Tim Richmond hat out of the closet. It's not this Tim Richmond, but it is a Tim Richmond. Let's see how we have it scored now. All right, still scored the first car 1 lap down, so he needs to stay there, and we need to caution quickly if he's going to get back on the lead lap. Christian says he wants to watch Kitzmiller win a race before he retires to let his son take over. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be a cool way to do it. NASCAR is one of the sports where fathers and sons can compete together at an equal level. You don't see that in many other professional sports. Like golf, you could see it potentially. And freak of nature, LeBron James, you know, he stayed in the league long enough to play a game alongside his son. So even though they're not remotely on the same skill level, we see a lot more father-son combos in NASCAR and stock car racing in general. All right, Daniel Dye, they've made up a little ground. They're kind of holding steady. Now 3 cars back, getting up alongside the guy in 3rd, who is Giovanni Ruggiero. The pack is definitely a lot more concentrated than it was. Cletus is running at the very back of this pack. About 10 rows deep. So he's the last car in this lead pack right now. Take a look back there. Still scored the first car 1 lap down, so he's doing his job. They are so close. Daniel Dye was getting some side draft there. So Christian said, fun fact for those who don't know where Jason Kitzmiller came from. He raced Super Cup stock cars, or yeah, the old NASCARs, and for CR7. And Christian watched him win 4 races at Jennerstown in 2 years. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm considering going to my local short track this year. If there's a Saturday where it doesn't conflict with the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, go there and live stream from the track. I'd have to work out the logistics on that, but we might try to make it happen. I don't know how cell service is out there. It's on the edge of town. He just needs to wait for them to wreck and get his lap back. They have to do it fast. He's going to run out of laps soon. They have a caution. They're going to lose 4 to 5 laps, you know, just running around the track. And then once he gets his lap back, he's going to be stuck pretty much where he is now. So he's going to then have to make up all his track positions. So it'll take a special set of circumstances for him to get back in here, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. We've had so many single car spins so far. So I mean, you could say we're due for a big one. We may just see someone get loose here in a bit. So Cletus has jumped up to the high side. Not sure if that's his best move. He is able to potentially move forward a bit easier than running around on the inside line. I do not like the top side. Because if you're in the corners and guys get loose and wreck in front of you, they're going to wash back up the track. Then you have nowhere to go. If you're on the inside, you can take off across the apron. So you have more options down there. But if you're within 2 seconds of the leader, there's not really a safe place on the track. You can get taken out anywhere. All right, Cletus just dove back down to the inside. Now he's going back to the outside. Cletus is shaking and baking. He may be a lap down, but he's letting that bald eagle soar. Let's go. I just hope he finishes the race. All right, the field just split up because they're coming around a lap car. So the field got really disorganized there. Really disorganized. All right, we have 6-car breakaway at the front of the pack. They're about to go to commercial. 2 wide further back. We're closing in on 15 laps to go. So the laps are winding down. Hopefully this is our last commercial break. I wish they'd done a side by side here. Let's look over our leaderboard real quick. See what we can see. So we now have 5 cars out of the race. Robusto's still in the garage. If she could get back out on track, she could gain a few more positions. So they may try to get back out there to earn those free points. Caleb Costner, 12 laps off the pace. We have several guys more than 1 lap off the pace. And Cletus and AJ are competing for the free pass. And I think Cletus has the position right now. I mean, obviously he scored ahead. But I don't even know if AJ Moyer's in the lead pack, so There's that. Jake Finch, Gusty, Giovanni Ruggiero, Daniel Dye, Jack Wood, Thomas Annunziata, Jake Bowman, Jason Kitzmiller. So we have a lot of big names here. Cole Raz, you know, we know him. So definitely a lot of the competitive cars towards the front of the field. Brad Smith did a great job of getting out of the way right there. Yeah, pulling to the inside, especially off the track, is the best way to do it. You'll see some guys panic and they try to go to the high side, or they just try to go in the middle, and the field has to split around them. I hope the spotters were calling that out. Cletus is in a position that if they wreck, he has nowhere to go. Yeah, that's my concern about the high side. Last night, for example, you know, Cletus wrecked from the inside, so you can wreck from anywhere at this track. But I saw Tony move up to the high side, and Tony for the first 20 laps was riding around, usually inside line, way further back, running a very safe race. Then in the second stage, they made some adjustments. He felt a little more confident, so he moved up through the field to the outside, 3 wide. And Jay Garcia got loose and took him out. So outside line, you can make up some ground, but it is dangerous up there. We are under caution again. 68 blew up. Ali Owens done. Was scored 10th place. Having a really good run up on the high side, and it just detonates. So, oh man. Hopefully it didn't drop a bunch of fluids. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, she definitely did. The 8's also involved. Sean Gore, that's a hard hit. We have another car that took off through the grass, so we may have a few cars with damage here. Sean Core got tagged there. Not a ton, like he may have gotten into the outside wall, but unless there's steering damage, he'll probably continue, but off the pace. It's a shame. But this worked out perfectly for Cletus. He should get his lap back here. See, like I was saying, you know, she washed back up the track after making contact with Sean Core, and even Core went up the track. So, I mean, but you're not safe anywhere. Sean Core is riding around on the inside line. Stacy says we need to red flag this. We have 3 hours to spare. I would be okay with that. These ARCA races are already so short. You might as well just not count caution flag laps. So what I wish they would do is when the Cup Series, when they do their stage breaks, or when NASCAR in general does their stage breaks, don't count the laps, because it really ticks me off. First stage, 20 laps. Second stage, 20 laps. But when you restart the second stage, you're already 5 laps in. You've missed a quarter of the racing under caution. It's just kind of silly to throw a caution flag, run 3-4 laps. The race ticks by. I think they have a time limit for tonight's race. Interesting. I don't think there's supposed to be any weather or anything. They did red flag it. How about that? And our red flag works. If you see the leaderboard, we have the red flag listed. Love that. Love that. They're interviewing Cletus right now. Let me see if I can find a replay of that last caution. I don't know if they'll post that one immediately. Does ARCA have a page? ARCA Menards Series. Yes, I follow this account. They also haven't posted anything. Okay. It's good on board here with Cletus. He drove right through all that oil. Whew, that was right in front of Cletus. Yeah, tough break for Alfredo this weekend. He was so emotional that he made the 500 and they ripped it away from him. Right, Cletus is a big guy. You can tell he's crammed in there. We don't have very many tall NASCAR drivers. We only have a handful of guys that are like, okay, that's a big dude. And a lot of those guys, Casey Mears, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, all small enough. Looks like they could be horse jockeys. But look back through the field. Ryan Vargas still running in 15th. I expected a bit more from Ryan. We'll see if he can work his way back up. Interesting. That's good to hear, Christian. What's the red flag for? Good to see you, Warren, one of our members. The red flag is for Allie Owens. Her car blew up. She was running in 10th, I believe. And now she's about to be out of the race. There's only, 13 laps left? If that. So the furthest she should fall would be 34th. So Robusto might be able to get back out there, but it doesn't look like it at this point. It's red flag, so it's not like they can work on the car. Yeah, she was running in the outside, and she just had that engine detonate. She was having a really good race, to be honest. Running really close there with Taylor Reimer, and Robusto was running very competitively until her drive shaft started to give out, potentially. Yeah, that definitely looks like a blown engine. Let's see if we have a replay of that posted. I think we do. Pull this up for you guys. So this is why we're red flag currently. So here's a little replay. So watch this outside line. Right after they cross the start-finish line, just detonates. Just like Darrell Waltrip in the, 1985 All-Star race or something. I forget which year it was, but there was one year where he crossed the start-finish line and his engine exploded. And he claims he didn't do it on purpose. Tattooed says he's watching on Cletus's channel. That's awesome. So you're watching that on board? Where's Cletus? Ross Chastain fan forever asks. Currently scored 27. That's probably where well, he'll actually restart 26th. He's going to move up one spot here. At least one spot. But he should get his lap back during this caution cycle. So he's going to be way back in the pack. Not a lot of laps left. But with the right moves, Cletus could work his way back into the top 10. So I just hope he finishes the race. I just hope he finishes the race. My bad. My bad. There he is. Currently scored 27th, but he should jump up to 26th before this restart. It was 1985. I thought so. Every once in a while, I'll throw out a date, and I'm just not sure on it. So I just say, I don't know if this is right, but I think it's this year. Throw this replay back up here for you guys while we're waiting on them to go back green flag. So replay, Ali Owens blowing up here. Where's Cletus? He's currently scored 27th, 1 lap down, but he's about to get the free pass, and he'll probably restart 26th. So this is why we're under the red flag currently. Good call there to red flag the race. Because it would have taken them several laps to clear off, you know, 2,000 feet of oil. I don't know how far this is. It's a lot. Ton of debris, too. Ton of debris. So good call to red flag it there. This is Cletus is on board here. So check this out. Running in that outside line. Can't see a thing. Right in front of him. That's so close. Shane Van Gisbergen 24 Daytona. I don't remember what SVG did in 24. I think he was running pretty well. I don't know where he finished, but I know at some points during the duel he was running pretty well there. Yeah, they interviewed Cletus a second ago on the broadcast, or probably like 5 minutes ago now. And yeah, he seems pretty excited. There's still, you know, there's not a lot of race left, and he's gonna have to make up like 25 spots if he wants a shot at the win. So it's still a long shot, but there's a chance. There is a chance. So just under commercial here, still waiting for this race to get back green. We are under caution again, so car should be rolling. You can post the footage on Discord. I'd love that. I would love that. I'll check that out after this race. That's right. That's right, Tattooed. I think the cars will be back rolling. You know, we're under caution flag again. Good to see that. Christian says, now let the Wreckfest begin. Also, you gave an explanation of what happened to the 03 of Alex Club in the comments. Let me go back and see. Or like the actual comments, not the chat. I'll find it at some point. I like these Red Bull commercials. They're usually, you know, short, you know, maybe a little humorous. But I'm glad to have Red Bull back in the sport. They're in chat. I don't see it. like a long time ago or recently? Yeah, I don't see any comment about club. Show the race. Yes, let me get my channel of 15 years banned. Real genius here. If you want to see the race, there are methods, but you need to ask instead of demand. Truth, if you can't find a way to watch this race that's free over antenna, that's being illegally streamed on many websites, I don't think you really want to watch this race. We're glad to have you here and engaging in the chat, but we cannot show the race. Our channel will get taken down within 10 minutes. We tried to show an old NASCAR race during the off season, and NASCAR took down the account. They took down the stream in 10 minutes. We can't do that. If I had a no-name account that I could just generate a new one and keep going, then yeah, we could do that. But we're not going to get this account banned. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to open up my Discord on stream. I'm going to leak any of my friends' usernames. All right, 10 to go. Wesley says they'll be lucky to get 2 laps in before the next caution. Yeah. I mean, business is about to pick up for sure. We'll just have to see how clean the restart is, you know. Every once in a while we get a really bad one where the inside line just dominates. But I'm hoping they'll stay side by side for a bit. Start time for the Daytona 500 has been moved to 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. The graphic says 1:30, but the tweet says 11:30. Oh, live coverage begins at 11:30. So tune in 11:30 Eastern tomorrow for 500 coverage on Fox. We'll be live probably at 1:30 Eastern. If not a little after. We may wait a bit. Yeah, they decided to move the race up a little bit because there's supposed to be a band of rain showers coming through about 6 p.m., 6 to 7 p.m. So if the race runs long, then they would have to call it early. So there's a chance the race gets called early tomorrow. Might see the Daytona 350 or something. CST and says 12:30. Yeah. 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern. 3.5 cautions. That's the over-under. I can see it. We may just not have enough time left. Watching the ARCA race live on Fox. That's it, baby. I love when they're on Big Fox because people with antennas, you know, you don't have to pay for a cable package to get Fox. You can just tune in within the antenna. That's what I have on my television in here. And I have an antenna on the television in the living room. And even though I have a cable package, a streaming service, I still watch it on the antenna because it's less delayed. It's also a very clear broadcast. So my antenna is probably 10 to 15 seconds ahead of the YouTube TV broadcast. NASCAR and IndyCar is at Phoenix on the same weekend. That'll be fun. I like that, Warren. I like that a lot. I think they should do tandem dates more often Like IndyCar should go to Miami the same weekend NASCAR does, you know, things like that. Also, I just want to see IndyCar, you know, in Miami. Take them back to Michigan. Do a Michigan IndyCar doubleheader. Cup race, IndyCar race. Peter says his isn't being funny, but he can't find out where to watch it. He shouldn't watch it. Some people haven't got a clue. That's right. Joining us from the UK, it looks like, Peter Carter. Yeah, there's a website. If people would ask for it, I would possibly provide it. There's an alleged website that may or may not exist. But if it did, it does show all the NASCAR races. Just found out about it a couple weeks ago. So I've been recommending that. Because I know how expensive it is for a cable package, for a streaming service, this or that. Just to pay for internet, you know, it gets expensive. So I try to provide options for people. Because I don't want, you know, someone to miss out on the race. That's right, 8 to go. We are back green. Jake Finch going to get a good push there. Dropping back down to the inside. Daniel Dye trying to be competitive, but that outside lane is already fallen off. Only 5 cars up on the outside. Let's keep an eye on Cletus. See if he can make any ground up here. Currently scored 21st. So let's keep an eye on that. He has a lot of ground to make up. Oh, we have 1 car on the wall. Well, there you go, Wesley. That's 1 caution. There we go. So we're going to restart probably with maybe 3 to go. I mean, it's going to be... Yeah, that's Annunziata. Wrecked out from 5th. Yeah, I love the Cletus cam. Before the race even started, there were already 7,000 people tuned in. So Cletus is putting a lot of eyeballs on the race. Yeah, that green flag did not last very long. Disappointing. Hard hit, but the car's still rolling. Not bad. Let's see where Cletus may restart. All right, still score 21st. We'll see if that updates. A lot of ground to make up. He's going to be 10 rows back and probably behind a lot of slower cars. What he really needs is he needs these guys that are too wide. He needs all of those guys to crash. Or at least a handful. Oh, Cletus barely got through. Okay, if we get a replay of that, we'll pull it up. Cletus snuck through. Usually takes about 5 minutes or so for Fox to post a replay. So he goes down the track and then kind of washes back up, and Cletus is coming right by. Maybe by 6 feet. I mean, that was pretty close. Michael says he must have internet. His consoles require it. Yeah. I mean, nowadays you pretty much have to have internet to play video games. Big Cletus fan from the UK. That's great, man. If you ever... I know... What is it? Sky TV? Is that the channel that NASCAR occasionally comes on over there? I used to have a cable package that had, you know, a cable package that had channels international. And so I could watch the UK broadcast of the NASCAR race because it was commercial free. But, yeah, the website that may or may not exist, that you should not look up by any means, you shouldn't do it. dd12streams.com. dd12streams.com. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm saying it may or may not exist, and hypothetically, if that website did exist, you can watch the NASCAR races on it. So we'll see how long it takes for them to take that website down, but yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It does still use the American networks commentary. Cletus barely getting through that one. They just showed his in-car. That was pretty chaotic. He's still out here rolling around. I mean, Annunziata got in the wall really hard, but he's still rolling. That is crazy. Hey, Nitro built a good race car. All right. We're at probably at least 2 laps until we're going to restart. So we're probably going to restart with maybe 4 to go. We'll see. Going back under commercial. Fox graphics are better than last year, yes? It's a little more simplistic than it was last year. Ross Chastain fan said he said, I don't care. Yeah, just staying with it. Christian says Cletus needs to cowboy up and do it for Dale. If Dale went from 18th to 1st at Talladega, Cletus can do it here. It's a different racing package than we had back then, but yeah, if he can channel his inner Dale Earnhardt, that's who we're repping today. We have our Earnhardt hat on. We'll probably wear another Earnhardt hat tomorrow. Can't speak. And we still have another race to go after this, so we will be live for the O'Reilly race later today. Before the race, they broadcasted those. Yeah. When I tuned in, they were still playing an ad. I don't even know what it was for, but it was like some cooking product. The paid programming. It does, Christian. The website that may or may not exist hypothetically works for the hypothetical Xfinity races. I can't tell people to go there. But it is an option. Yeah, I don't know. It may have been Warren. It could have been AA. I forget who told me, but someone told me a couple weeks ago about it. I went and looked. I checked it out for the Clash, and then I checked it again for the truck race last night, and it was working. So looks like a pretty good website, and there's a live chat too, so you can comment on the race with other people. That's part of why I like doing this. I like talking NASCAR with people while we watch the race. And then just for you guys that are new here, after the Cup race tomorrow, we will be going live with our post-race show. So right after the broadcast, we roll right into our post-race show, and you guys are able to call in that number on screen and share your thoughts. So looking forward to that. That'll be tomorrow after the Cup race. Hey, you don't like paid programming, man? You can learn about OxyClean. Peter Carter says, big up Cletus McFarland from the UK. Do it for Dale and be like the Biff. There you go. Glad to have you, Peter. I don't know if you'll be up later, Peter, for the O'Reilly race, but that one probably going to start, around midnight for you guys? Yeah, Peter's several hours ahead of us, so he's already watching this race in prime time. Wesley says it was a sad day when Stream East was taken down. Indeed, it was. Also, crack streams and meth streams. There were some wild names out there, but a lot of people watched all of their sports through Stream East. Cletus currently scored 20th. That's good. Corey Heim. Still call it Xfinity since you're so used to it. 7 p.m. in London. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's going to be about midnight when the Xfinity race kicks off, or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. It's such a mouthful. I hate it. Why couldn't Busch come back? Go back to the Busch Series. Yeah, that's right, Christian. That's a shame. Or just not able to refire. Maybe not out of fuel. Either further behind, Wesley? That's crazy. Good to have you, Wesley. Occasionally we'll have someone tune in from, I think, Vietnam. We've had people from all over. I like looking at my demographics on the YouTube channel. Occasionally you'll see like Afghanistan is like tuning in, and it's like, who's watching from Afghanistan? Well, technically the PS2 did have internet. You didn't have to use it, but you could plug in the internet. Yeah, Taylor Reimer, after running in the top 10 pretty much all race, not going to get the car refired after that last caution period. Not sure what happened there. Maybe out of fuel. Maybe could be a power issue. Yeah, let me go ahead and share this. We do have a Discord. I'm not super active in it, but I do check it every other day, or if someone updates me. Yeah, see Johnson Fan sent a reaction video. Anyway, I'll share the link to our Discord if you use Discord. You're welcome to join. And we just talk NASCAR in there. People talk about things they're working on. Pretty fun. And there's a self-promotion tab, so if you upload videos or if you go live, you can... I did not mean to send that in the Discord. Let me delete that. Oops. Battery issue? Yeah, so power. That's a shame. All right, pace car's about to pull off. So the Discord link is in the chat now, if you do feel so inclined. Alex Club has battery issues overnight. These brand new batteries went dead overnight. They had to get some off another team this morning to even start the race. Yeah, I always like to check the comments. You never know who will tune in. Sometimes I'll play like a game, like an indie game on Steam, and then the developers will comment on the video, and then I feel bad because maybe I didn't like the game. Because there was one time I was like, oh man, I don't like this. I don't like this part of the game at all. Overall, I liked the game, but one specific part I really didn't like, and they saw the video, and they, like 2 weeks later, updated the game and changed it. Pretty cool. All right, we're back. Green flag racing. Jake Finch on the inside lane this time. Gus Dean alongside him. They touch. Going into turn one. Golly. This could be the last restart. Cletus scored 20th currently. Not currently in the lead pack. But as long as... Oh my goodness. There's no way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the caution flag has waved once more. Are you serious? Are you serious? So, Jake Finch and Gus Dean both got taken out. Jake Finch got loose, went beneath the yellow, tried to merge back up. Giovanni Ruggiero got into the back of him and ended up spinning Jake Finch into Gustine. So you have two cars that are really hurt. So we have another caution. So I'm not sure what the overtime rules are here in ARCA. We're going to find out soon. Let's look back through the fields. Cletus currently still scored 20th. He should move up at least to 18th. We'll see. There we go. Little update. Cletus up to 16th. There we go. He's doing it. He's being like Biff. 16th for 16. All right. He's moving up. AJ Moyer's also moving back up through the field. So the two guys that were a lap down are both working their way back up through the field. Man, Cletus has been behind every single one of these later wrecks, and he's made it through so far. All right, so on the leaderboard, they just updated the lap count to 85. So I'm guessing we are going into ARCA overtime. Peter said, go Cletus, go. Be that eagle and fly. Yeah, he's about to rip and roll around here like a bald eagle. Hopefully he's not the next one to get bit by this Daytona bug, you know, taken out. I was really sad to see him crash last night in the truck race. And then Tony Stewart did, you know, just 20 laps later. It was really disappointing. The two most popular guys in that race. That's right, Ross Chastain fan. That's right. 15, you can see the rear tires get up off the ground. The flaps really did their job deploying. Went around backwards a few times. Jake Finch, such a dominant race up front. Really, anyone that's been super dominant this race has been taken out now. Robusto led 11 laps, ran up front constantly. Mechanical issue. Now Jake Finch and Gus Dean both taken out. They were competitive all day. Another guy that was running in the top 5, as high as 3rd, Cletus, having a jack brake, got a lap down, got his lap back now. So yeah, you don't really want to be running up front. Oren says the 88 made it through. That's right. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on AJ. They were both a lap down, and now they're, you know, working their way back up through the field together. They still may need another caution after this to actually get around the competitive cars. Because he'll be restarting in the 8th row, potentially. Really only about the first 5 rows are competitive. And now we have some weaker cars up here, so who knows if that's even going to be a close race at the front. Say Giovanni Ruggiero, Daniel Dye, Jason Kitzmiller. I think those are 3 strong picks here at the end. Could be any of the top 4, really. And it's Daytona, so if you're still in the race, you still have a shot to win. Why does Mark Wahlberg want me to pray with him? It's a kind commercial. I mean, I'm okay with that. It's just a little odd to be like, you can pray with me, a celebrity. A little odd. But nice message overall. Nice message overall. All right, so I'm not sure if we're going to do it, but I kind of want to do a 100% Xfinity race. Or, well, it will be Xfinity in NASCAR 25. So we might do a Daytona race after this stream. May not be immediately. But We're going to try to time it to where the race ends and we go right into our O'Reilly Auto Parts broadcast. Wesley says he doesn't think we're done. Wesley predicted 3.5 was the line. So we're at 2 now. I wasn't even watching the commercials. Peter says, don't underestimate my boy Cletus. He's going to be that eagle and fly. I just hope he makes it to the end. Currently scored 15th. We'll see if that's accurate once they get the field line back up. This would be pretty cool. I don't think they're going to be lined up nose to tail. Cletus pushing Bobby Earnhardt. Pushing Bobby Earnhardt, son of Kerry Earnhardt, to the lead. Not going to happen that way, but it would be amazing. He could really do it for Dale here. Help out Bobby in that Dale Sr. throwback. Yeah, that was really odd because Jake Finch had been really consistent all day and just got a little loose there. And Giovanni Ruggiero could have backed out of it, but they were coming to the end of the race, so he kept pushing. If you cannot make it to turn 3 without crashing, you're not a real driver. Yeah, real men crash out of turn 4. Yeah. Gotta be like Cletus in last night's race. Christian says he'd watch Andy J and Glenn Reen, the team cars. They've stuck together the whole way through. We all know Andy J and lifting. Yeah. You've been pretty spot on with a lot of your with a lot of your picks. So we'll keep an eye on these two. Ryan Vargas back up in the top 10. If he has enough power under the hood, he could make a move a little far back. One attempt. What are the odds we make it? Ross Chastain fan says Cletus is going to be next, isn't he? I hope not. I just hope he finishes the race. He's had really bad luck in his NASCAR and ARCA career so far in terms of actually making it to the end. If they do end up crashing, I hope they wait till the last lap. I don't want to see this thing end under caution. That's the reason why we have green white checkers, is they didn't like the race ending under caution. But we're in overtime officially. Lap 82 going to restart on lap 83. The lights are out on the pace car. Let's see what happens. Oren says Cale Gale's the best NASCAR driver name he's ever heard. I'm partial to Dick Trickle. That's a good one. Scott Speed was a really good one. Scott Speed. That just sounds like a superhero or something. The alliteration. And then in IndyCar, we have Stingray Rob. Love that. His literal legal name is Stingray. That's crazy. What an awesome name. Not very traditional though. And it'll be weird to call an old man Stingray, so maybe he'll just go by Ray later in life. But anyway, then we have Will Power. Lawless Allen. Bang. There you go. That's a good one. That's another good one. Christian says Jack Wood's going to be pushed by Kitzmiller, who's aggressive. We'll be watching. Okay, outside line's really hanging back here. They're stacking up. Very ugly restart. Outside line just died. Cletus, though, got through it. We're going to see Cletus jump up a few spots here, I believe. That was an ugly restart. Cletus kind of lost the draft here. So this is the final lap. We don't even get a... Uh-oh, we're crashing. We stay green. We stay green. Oh my goodness. Cletus might get a top 10 here. Yeah, that restart was ruined. I wish they went one more lap. Giovanni Ruggiero will get the win in the General Tire 200. So we do finish green. Giovanni Ruggiero getting the win. And let's see where Cletus shakes out. Almost a top 10. They currently have him scored 11th. Bobby Earnhardt getting a top 10 here at Daytona in the Dale Sr. throwback. How about that? Yeah, the 18 wins. I think maybe Christian said that was Joe Gibbs' first ARCA win here. Yeah, first ARCA win at Daytona. That's hard to believe, but absolutely wild. What a race that was. What a race. Look back through. AJ Moyer moved up a little bit. Didn't make it through as well as Cletus did. Jake Finch, after leading a lot of the race, finishing 20th. Gusting getting the worst of that, finishing 5 laps off the pace. Annunziata 2 laps off the pace. Tim Richmond, last guy on the lead lap, 23rd. So a lot of guys, you know, there's a lot of attrition throughout this race. Sean Core, Ali Owens, Wesley Slimp, Alex Clubb, Isabella Robusto, Minnie Tyrell, Derek White, Ryan Huff, all off the track. I mean, we kept it pretty clean. There wasn't really a huge big one there. We had, a couple 2-car accidents. Other than that, they were all single-car cautions. Cletus just missing out on the top 10. That's a shame, but Cletus actually finished the race. So I'm sure he'll be happy. And hopefully his sponsors will be happy. If he didn't have that jack brake, he probably, you know, barring, you know, being involved in a wreck, he probably would have finished in the top 5. So he had top 5 speed. I think he definitely had top 5 speed. He just, you know, had an issue on pit road, of all things. Not a huge fan of the start-finish line interviews. Not a huge fan of this. All right. Well, there's our running order. That's our General Tire 200. We will be live for the Xfinity race. When does that start? In like 3.5 hours? I just want to get an official time. Or O'Reilly out of... Oh, yeah. No. It starts at 5 Eastern. So that starts in... what, 2.5 hours? So I'll see you guys in 2.5 hours. We may go live right after this stream with a NASCAR 25 pre-race for the Xfinity race. We might do some Daytona racing. So I might see you guys here shortly. If not, I'll see you guys probably at 4 Central, 5 Eastern. So hope to see you guys then. Thank you, Peter, for joining us. Thank you, everybody that was in chat. Christian, you were in here a lot. Warren, Ross Chastain fan. Wesley was in here a ton. Love talking NASCAR with you guys. It's one of my favorite sports. Eric, I'm sorry I didn't see your message. I hope I repeated the thing, or maybe you could have went back and saw it, but I hope you were able to get the link. Yeah, if you guys are ever needing, you know, a way to watch the race, let me know, and I will hypothetically allegedly tell you a site where you can watch the race. But that'll do it for us, ladies and gents. Maybe I'll see you guys in a stream here shortly after this, or I may see you guys for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. So looking forward to it. It was a fun ARCA race, you know, not as crazy as the truck race, but it was a really good ARCA race. Awesome, Wesley. Awesome. I'll double check Discord here. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the next one. You need a way to watch the race, Chimney says. All right, well, this will be the last thing in the stream. Hypothetically, allegedly, there may or may not be a website called dd12streams.com. D is in dog. dd12streams.com. There may or may not be a website with that name, but if there was, hypothetically, you could watch the NASCAR and ARCA races throughout the season. So, yeah. Not sure how long they're going to keep it up. A lot of times these sites will get banned. But I don't want anyone to miss out on the race, you know? So, if we have links, we'll try to share them. Hypothetically. I'm not saying it exists. I'm not saying it does. But hypothetically, if it did, that's where you would find it. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, you'll be able to tune into the Xfinity, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. I call it Xfinity because that's what most people know it as now. But if not, like $15, you can get an antenna. And if you live in an area with the CW, the whole Xfinity season, O'Reilly Auto Parts season, is free on the CW. So, good source. They do a great job with their broadcasts. But yeah, that DD12 is fun. If you're on there, hypothetically, if you were to go on there, if it existed, there's a chat, like a Twitch chat going on the side of the screen. So you can see kind of what people are thinking about the race. So it's kind of fun. I've looked at it a little bit just to see if it worked. But yeah, I'll see you guys here in like 2.5 hours, potentially. I might see you guys a little after, but anyway, hope to see you guys in the future, whenever that is.